The Mighty Whites podcast is recorded at the Medicine Room Studios. For more information, visit medicineroomstudios.com.
All right, and welcome to episode 29 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as usual, joined by KC from Portland.
Good morning.
Yeah, we've a decent amount to get through, but KC will find this a nice, relaxing come down, having moved house this week, and as we all know, that's a massive pain in the ass.
Yes, four house moves I've been involved in this year, so I have said we're not moving again for 7 years, at least.
And you see, that's what happens when no one wants to live with you.
It's forced from home to home.
Yeah, poor little orphan boy, KC.
Hey, I am not little.
Yeah, that's fair.
Poor fat orphan boy.
Do you know who else isn't little? Do you know who else isn't little?
Who?
Oliver McBurney. And he scored twice as Swansea drew 2-2 against us. That's the first games. See,
That's a cracking set.
goddamn seamless transitions in this podcast.
That was smooth.
Yeah, did you actually get to see 90 minutes on this one?
Yes, I did get to watch this one. This is, I think, the last of the games that I got to see live. And yeah, it was definitely different after the first few games of the season, seeing us being dominated more. But to be fair, we battled away, kept creating chances. I think a 2-2 draw was probably about fair.
Yeah, I think it were fair. I mean, if any team was going to really, if either team deserved to win it, it would probably Swansea. Like, we had to poor start. I can understand why. I mean, losing Liam Cooper in warm-up was a big blow. So going into a game with a back four of Shackleton, Berardi, Ayling and Douglas, 3 full-backs and an 18-year-old centre-mid, it isn't the greatest start.
Yeah, I clearly miss that because the coverage I get out here, it starts about 5 minutes before kickoff. So you got the team, and clearly someone had just seen it on Twitter or something like that. They'd stuck the graphic up, and then I just went, "What? Where's Cooper? What? Hey?" And I had to that's when I had to text you. He was like, "What happened to him? No one said anything."
Yeah, which at that point the answer was injured, and that's as specific as it got.
Yeah, because I was just looking, going, they just announced him, but he's definitely not on the field.
Yeah, no, it always sets you back when you lose one in warm-up like that, particularly as Janssen was out with the back injury that was described on certain websites as a foot injury, which was a bit weird.
One and the same.
Yeah. But one of the things that I liked about this was, as much as we were second best for a long time, it's another game where we did take us chances when they came. And the first goal, I thought Shackleton did absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, he showed a really good turn of pace to get past the fullback and just smash it across. I didn't realise he was quite as quick as that. I don't know if it's just that I've not had the chance to really see it yet, but yeah, he looked comfortable taking on the fullback, trying to get past him, and a good finish from Roof just to smash it in as well, just getting on the end of it.
Yeah, there was that. I mean, the defending on the second goal really wasn't great. We let him cross the ball far too easily, and Berardi was 5 yards away from McBurney. I know Berardi's not going to beat McBurney in air, but if he's somewhere near him, it becomes a much more difficult header. But it was a really good header, in fairness.
Yeah. I think it was the first goal where you could just see in one of the replays, slow motion in the background, just Berardi punching the floor, like full on smashing the floor after McBurney had scored.
Yeah, it was after the first one. He was absolutely fuming. To be honest, that first one, I mean, I'm not chewing him out. He's still been great, and I definitely would keep him in the side the whole time, but I think Peacock Fowler should have saved it. Because he guessed the right way and he got there.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed, but fair play. I feel like he's redeemed himself in other games.
Yeah. And then the second equaliser from Hernandez, Bamford's little step over and dummy to get in down left was really good. Good ball across, and it was a weird one because he didn't look like he was getting there until he scored.
Honestly, I have no idea how Hernandez got on the end of that. It just watching it, Like you say, he always seemed to be behind the defender. Even when he took the shot, he looked like he was behind the defender. He did really, in the same way that Bamford probably shouldn't have been able to get to where he did. It was poor defending on their part, just because Bamford completely rolls him. Gets into acres of space with just one little move. And it wasn't even a particularly quick cross. It just seemed to be a slow motion goal. It was very odd, but fair play to Hernandez for getting inside to not far off the penalty spot, to be fair. So he's cut in a fair way.
Yeah, well, it was a good result, but we saw the other side of Bielsa in this, and not that that's a complaint by any means. The one thing that I've noticed with him is that he's left his changes very late. Quite a long way around. You know, every game he's left them pretty late when he can. And this one, 27 minutes gone, and off comes Phillips for Baker. Drops Click into a holding role. At the time, I thought that it was a little bit harsh on him, but it was an understandable thing to do and proved to be the right thing to do.
I think watching Phillips' performance, he looked like there was a good chance he was going to get sent off before half-time.
Yeah, particularly up against Selena, who is a really good player.
Yeah, Selena had a good game for that. Their midfield did pretty well, because that was the first game for Leroy Fer back this season as well, I think.
Yeah, when he went off, it were good for us, for him going off. I saw a lot of comparisons on Twitter, people comparing him to, say, Championship Yaya Toure.
Yeah, he looked every bit quality. He basically looked like a Premier League player that had come down. But yeah, I think Phillips, he was getting frustrated. He'd put in a couple of tackles, got booked in the first 5 minutes.
It was very early. I'm not sure exactly when, but it was very early.
Yeah, his passing was off, and I think you could see the frustration building in him. And I think it was, like you say, I think it was a very good chance he was probably going to end up getting a second yellow card. So I think it was for the best that he came off.
Yeah, but it does show that Bielsa's not... If something's going wrong, he will try and fix it. Even though he kept the system exactly the same, he just moved people about to fit it. He's never going to be scared of anything, is he really, Bielsa? But he just went, no, off you come. You don't see less experienced managers doing things like that.
Yeah, and interestingly as well, I think he's been asked about it, and one of the things he said was, if I start changing the system around, or if the players start playing a different way if we go behind or under pressure, then they lose faith in me and they lose faith in the system. Well, actually,
I know which press conference that was in. It's worth bringing up now because it was just before the Norwich game.
Yeah.
So, we both had us winning that game. I had 1-0, you had 2-1. But yeah, that was after the very long press conference apology to Hernan Crespo.
Things you didn't think you'd hear in a Leeds United press conference.
Yeah, saying that when he was a young player, he said that he was a very mature young player, and then he managed him a few years later, and he said he'd really matured as a player. And Crespo remembered what he'd said and said, well, how can that be? Which one is true? And he admitted to him that he wasn't telling the truth the first time. And 20 years later, Bielsa's still saying, this is the kind of thing I cannot forgive, and I am right not to forgive myself. It does show he is a bit mental.
He's a very complex character, clearly.
Yeah, he's a...
And like you said, Crespo even came out and said, I put this in all behind me now. We've moved on. He is still one of the best managers I've worked with.
But Crespo did admit that he was really hurt by it. Which means that... It makes me think that it means that Crespo might have quite a similar sort of outlook to Bielsa, because I think a lot of players wouldn't really have given a shit about that. And maybe wouldn't have thought about it twice, but it was after he said all that about how he needs to be honest and always tell the truth. That was when he linked that to his tactics and said, that's why we keep playing this way. It don't matter if we're losing with 10 minutes left, it don't matter when it is, we keep playing this way. Because if I abandon it when we're losing, then they'll stop believing in me and believing in the tactics.
Yeah, there is, for all intents and purposes, there's no plan A, no plan B. We play the same way regardless.
There is plan.
Sorry, I said no plan A and no plan B. There's a plan A, obviously.
Oh, you see, I thought you were being clever. I thought you were being clever and saying there is no plan A, there is no plan B, there is just the plan.
I wish I'd stuck with that now. That sounds better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shows a good philosophy, and this is how I play. This is how I want you guys to play. We don't deviate from that, and I think, I think that's why I think for someone like Pontus, it's going to take a little bit of adjusting, because I think Pontus can play the ball out, but I do think he is still in that mindset of get your foot behind it at times and get it out. And I think having had less time, or no time in preseason working on that, that's why he's kind of behind in the pecking order at the moment, whereas Berardi and Cooper have had that time working on that, getting the ball, being comfortable on it, bringing it out more, as opposed to, we're under pressure, as you could have seen us doing against Swansea when they were pressing us a bit more and seeing players just smash it forward, but they stuck to the game plan.
Yeah, and the game plan certainly worked in the next one, in which Janssen returned to the side, and he had a good game as well. But a 3-0 win away at Norwich. This was a weird one for me, because I'd been on nights and I did set an alarm to get up for the game, and I just slept straight through it. So I woke up when our lass woke me up at about 6, and I went downstairs, but she told me the score, and luckily Walmart had uploaded the full 90 minutes, so I did actually get to see the ESPN Plus coverage.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, he'd uploaded the 90 minutes, and I watched it straight after to do player ratings article and stuff. But watching the full 90 minutes with no nerves whatsoever is a very strange experience. I don't think I liked it.
No, I think it's always one of the reasons I've always struggled watching any sort of sport. Once you know the outcome, it's quite difficult to get through if you're kind of expecting things to happen at a certain time, and as opposed to watching a game unfold before you and develop in a way. But yeah, it was a game I think we both were very confident about winning, and we.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I had 2-0 and you had 3-1.
Yeah, and we just completely outplayed them again, which is in a sharp contrast to, I think we played them, was it the second or third to last game of last season? It turned out to be, was it like the Russell Martin testimonial almost? It was
Wes Hoolahan.
That was it, Hoolahan. It was his last home game.
It was the one where the game where Don Matteo went. Don Matteo? I read something about Don Matteo just before we came on. I saw a tweet of him with his kid in a Leeds shirt or something. Yeah,
oh, okay.
I was after Noel Whelan was the name I actually wanted to say. But Noel Whelan was going absolutely mental, wasn't he? Because they'd all said before the game, this will be like a testimonial, don't get sucked into that atmosphere. Go out and batter, and they got completely sucked into it and played, and just no intensity whatsoever. But they weren't like that for this. Goals from Click, Alioski and Hernandez again. Click's goal, it was a good finish, but as a follow-up from the Alioski header. But the main thing in the goal was the pass from Hernandez to Alioski, which was just absolutely world-class.
He's like a fine wine at this point. Fine Rioja. He's just getting better with age. I beggars belief that we, at any point last season, considered not giving him a new contract. How it got to 2 or 3 months before the end of the season and we hadn't tied him down is beyond me.
Yeah, that's it's scary, isn't it? Well, it was one of my favourite Bielsa quotes so far after the game, when they said to Bielsa, at 33 years old, obviously Hernandez is a really good player. Do you think you can improve Pablo Hernandez as a player? And he said, I think he can improve me as a coach.
He's just so good. And again, considering even at the start of last season, you, me and Connie were saying, he's probably not the player you want playing, tough games away from home. And then I think at the back end of last season when we were awful, he was the one kind of saving grace. And you just look how important he is to this team now.
Yeah, but he has definitely, the defensive side of his game has improved over the last year and a half, 2 years. He did not used to win this many tackles and work back as well as he does now.
Yeah, he's absolute for the championship at least. He's got to be in the top 5 players.
Yeah, he is too classy for this league. If it could still run like he used to, he could still be on the Spain squad if he could run. He's that good.
Yeah, and just that attacking line now of Alioski, Saiz, Hernandez, who for the most part have now had pretty much a year of playing together. It's such a good unit together. They seem to have got a good understanding. Link up well between the three of them and Roof. And
in fairness, and Click as well.
Well, yeah,
because he's been getting forward a really lot.
Yeah, so the build-up play for these goals now, we're playing some really nice stuff.
Yeah, it was a real nice bit of build-up for the second goal as well. Douglas passing to Roof and him just turning it round corner for Alioski. It's a good hit to smash it home at near post. You'd expect to keep it a save, that.
Yeah, good power on it. A little bit of outside on it, so it curled right in around the post. Again, I think I said it in the last podcast, but Alioski at the moment looks like he's really enjoying his football. Yeah,
it's been a bit weird because even the people that don't particularly rate Alioski have been going, well, there's been, because last couple of games he's been, for instance, against Borough, some of his runs were really stupid and he just kept getting, and he got caught offside far too much and stuff. But even the people who aren't the biggest fans of him are going, but he has got a couple of assists and a couple of goals in 6 games. And it does work hard. So that's the difference with team this season. Even if the players are having a poor game, you can see what they're going for. Whereas when we had bad games under Heckingbottom, it just looked like there was no discernible plan whatsoever.
Well, that's it. I mean, you think about the Swansea game now and just imagine what we'd have been like in that sort of situation last season. They score an early goal, that'd have been it.
Yeah.
Outside of, I've been listening through to old episodes of the podcast because I just love the sound of my own voice that much.
Because you're a massive narcissist.
Yeah, pretty much.
You ought to be managed by Bobby Heenan.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Look at him, Narcissus. But yeah, and I think you listen at times, and as I said, Hernandez was playing well, but outside of that, we'd go through central midfield options. You'd go, Phillips is out of form, O'Kane's out of form, Vieira's out of form, Alioski's not looking great, Saiz has been all right occasionally. I don't know, you're just looking, Phillips didn't have a good game, so take him off after 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it was, get someone else in, and the game plan continues.
Yeah, they just look so much more confident.
Yeah.
And that showed with third goal, actually, because that was a really confident bit of play. The way that they're just keeping ball on left-hand side, Douglas, little ball inside for Hernandez, and a non-confident player is facing wrong way, he'd have just played it back out wide. But he's got time, turns, beats a man, curls it far corner. It's a very Hernandez finish.
Yeah. Absolute quality finish. Like you say, nice link-up play again. He's got complete awareness of where the defender is. And he just has that little touch out to get it on his right, curls it round. One of the things I do like is, I'm pretty sure it's in this game, when he hits it, you see one of the defenders get out of the way as the shot's curling in towards him.
Yeah.
Which is a nice little touch. It's just like him going, shit, I'm not getting in the way of that. Oh, bollocks. But yeah, 3-0 was thoroughly deserved.
Yeah. Obviously, I mentioned that Janssen came back into the side and he had a good game, and he did. But Phillips bounced back so well in this game. He had a really good game. And I just loved that in last minute, him coming in with that flying block when it's up 3-0, game's over, and he's in there fighting for everything.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but at the moment he's racking up. We talk about, Alioski getting a number of goals and assists at this point. Phillips is racking up blocks and interceptions at a rate of knots.
Yeah, and his passing's been so much better. He's still had a couple. I mean, he wasn't against Swansea, and he had a really bad 15 minutes against Rotherham. I mean, he had a really good 75 minutes at the other side of that against Rotherham as well. But he has been consistently solid. But I would have never, in a million years, if you'd have said his best position is going to be really deep in midfield and dropping into centre back.
Well, I think I said it. I think it was at the end of last season or just after Bielsa came in. The position I thought he would have moved to, I thought he'd be the backup at 10. I thought he'd be the backup for Saiz.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be kind of like Johnny House, and we move him forward, take the defensive responsibilities away from him, give him a little bit more freedom. And that's where it was going to go. Yeah, I didn't see him becoming Claude Makelele.
Yeah, I was really impressed, and I'm really glad we've kind of proselytised about how good we were in that game, because the next game, luckily it was the League Cup and we weren't that bothered because we were absolutely shite. 2-0 defeat at home to Preston. I don't think this had any TV coverage anywhere, so have you just seen like the extended highlights?
Yeah, I just watched the highlights on LUTV. Like you say, I think when I looked online, the best there was some Periscope feeds, but that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I went. It was... Leeds wouldn't have scored in this game if they'd have played for 4 days. They never once looked like scoring, even with Preston having 10 men for an hour.
Yeah, I think watching the first half as well, we never really got a grip on the game at all. We had a couple of opportunities at set pieces, but one thing I will say, I was quite impressed with Bamford's movement and getting into positions, and his finishing wasn't great, but he was getting in all the right areas at least, which is nice to see when you're coming on for what for us is the biggest amount of money we've spent in a long time, and then you've been on the bench all season, so it's quite nice to see he's trying to put a shift in, getting himself about. Like you say, I just think, and not just him, I think the whole team, our finishing was pretty poor on the day. Yeah,
we just had an overall off day. I mean, to be fair, it's one of them weird things where sometimes, when you see something in the ground and then see it back on TV and it's completely different to what you thought.
Yeah.
It must have been where we were, because me and everyone around me, at first, when we first saw their red card, we thought it looked a bit harsh. And then I saw it back on TV and it was a horrendous tackle.
Yeah, it's mostly in the follow-through.
Yeah.
I think when you watch it, it's just so high.
And for what it's worth, the opposite of that, of course, is that in the ground, their pen looked like a dive, and then I watched it back on telly, and it looked even more like one.
Yeah, that was poor. I think it was Shaughnessy went across, and
yeah, it wasn't really the dive that wound me up. There's so many mistakes in that goal, like the balls with Blackman. He gives it to Shaughnessy, who's in a bad position and under pressure. And I know that we do pass the ball out from the back and it's part of the system. But when the keeper has the ball at his feet, especially for a goal kick, if they mark everyone, he does then push him forward.
Yeah.
He didn't for this one. He gave it to Shaughnessy, who played it into Dallas, who was under even more pressure. Facing one way, he lost ball, and that's where it comes from. But now, I'm not writing him off by any means. If Bielsa thinks there's a player in there, it's fair enough. It was 45 minutes. You can't really judge out on it. But God, Shaughnessy had an absolutely awful game.
Yeah, it was disappointing for their second as well, because he
ran away.
He
didn't backtrack. He ran away.
And then I've forgotten the striker's name now. It's not Malt.
The one that scored the second. Was it Brandon Barker?
That was it, Brandon Barker, who, fair play to him, because he picks it up on about the edge of the centre circle in Preston's half, and he just bombs on. Like you say, Shaughnessy just keeps running back, and then there's no effort made to block the balls, no effort made to make a tackle. He just touch out to the side. It's a good finish.
It's a cracking strike.
There's nothing Blackman could have done about that once he got to that point. But yeah, it wasn't good defending in any way.
No, he didn't do himself any favours in terms of. I think he needs a few more under 23 games to try and get up to speed.
Yeah, I think the one good thing you could probably say about the second half was again the quality of Saiz when he came on in the second half.
Yeah, he wasn't at his absolute best, but he did stand out. He looked by far the most likely when he came on.
Yeah, but again, I can't think of too many saves in the second half their keeper had to make. A lot of shots wide. Jack Harrison had a couple of efforts again. But really a fairly quiet evening for Maxwell. I think it was in goal for them.
I thought Harrison was below par. I thought in the player ratings for it altogether, I copy and pasted my player review of Tyler Roberts from the previous League Cup game, saying it was anonymous. The ball just went down whichever side he wasn't every time, because the same happened again. So I don't know what it is. He needs something, whether it's a consistent run in under 23s to try and get a bit of confidence up. But he's just completely anonymous, and there's some elements of the way Grot was playing about it.
Yeah, I think with Roberts, and just watching the highlights, he has that one shot in the first half, which he goes for the left foot curling shot, and it goes a mile wide. And I think that's all I saw of him in that game.
Yeah. Oh, we did get a message on Twitter earlier. Apparently, Glock got man at match for Venlo, either earlier today or yesterday.
Good. It's a good chance for him to hopefully build up some confidence. Because I think I remember looking when we signed him, he still hadn't played that much first team football in Holland and hadn't scored that many goals. So hopefully, it's be a chance for him to get a consistent run. A bit less pressure on him. Not that I'm saying there isn't huge amounts of pressure from the Venlo fans to fire them into a UEFA Cup qualifying round game next season, but
it was Eric Klein that sent us that thing, by the way. I just checked.
Yeah. If he can, if he came back with 10, 15 goals this season, compared to the season he had last year, you'd be pretty happy with him. Yeah,
definitely. I had a draw, you had us winning. The last game, a couple of nights ago, this I thought was a good result, and one had a taken going in, even though we were at home. 0-0 with Middlesbrough. I thought it was about fair, to be honest. They defended well and kind of nullified us. They did a good job on Saiz, who, admittedly, this was Saiz's poorest game at season so far. He made a few really poor decisions with ball. He still wasn't awful, but he wasn't up to the standards he has been, and we missed Hernandez in this game.
Yeah, that was a blow to not have him in for a game of, I wouldn't say of this magnitude. I think magnitude might be overstating it a bit, but with it still only been, August at that point.
Yeah. Although, to be fair to him, it was Jack Harrison's best game since he joined.
I think watching the highlights, the main thing.
Oh yeah, this was moving day for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was listening. I was listening to this as the day was going on, and I will say, trying to listen to, because I got the match day pass, so I could listen to the Preston game and the Middlesbrough game, because I didn't realise it lasts a week, which is quite good. Fair play. 99p for basic commentary for the two games.
Yeah.
So I can't complain about that. But trying to get it on my phone was an absolute nightmare. If anyone could find it, tell me the easy way to do it, because I tried listening through the app on my phone and it just says, no live coverage is available at this time. You're just screaming, no, we're playing a game right now. Come on.
Well, it's still the same people that do LUTV, so we can't expect it to work now, can we?
Oh, yeah, true. It's just me there thinking, geez, I spent 99p on this. Sorry, $1.26 is apparently converted to. But watching the highlights especially, you just realise there's a lot of free kicks in this game.
Yeah, the referee, I wouldn't say that it was a bias thing. I don't think it was one of them where... I think Leeds did get slightly the rougher end at decisions, but it was more that it was just shite rather than... he's so against Leeds. It was more just he had a really poor game.
It was interesting because they didn't even show the build up to free kicks. You just see they just go straight to a slow motion replay of the tackle that are giving away the free kick while commentating, while the commentary is about 5 seconds ahead, already telling you what's going to happen with the free kick.
Oh, right.
So it kind of after a while you went, Jesus, there are a lot of fouls in this game. But I think probably these will be the two most contrasting teams in the league. You've got to imagine Tony Pulis's team against Marcelo Bielsa's.
Yeah, what I will say is they don't just lump it in the way that this is Stoke side did. They're not. They're a bit more footballing than that. It was interesting actually. I got the bus in straight from work for this game. I went straight to Ellen Road, and on bus I was sat talking to a couple of Borough fans. And before the game, they asked me, so what do you reckon today? And I said I'd take a point. I really would. And they were saying, yeah, we would as well. So I don't think either team was disappointed to come out with a draw and go in top 2 at international break.
Yeah, top 2, tied on points. We are top of the league on goal difference, so that is very important.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I will say one of the things that I quite liked. I watched someone put up the post-match on Sky and talk about Bailey Peacock-Farrell. He
was my man at match in this game.
He looked very impressive, very confident, especially when you see him hurtling out, 20, 25 yards to go for that ball to smash it into the stand. You get a bit nervous when you're watching things like that, but looked very confident coming out, knew he was going to get there, smashed it out. It's good to see, defenders have confidence in him as well. And like you say, he made a string of big saves in this game.
Yeah, he did. He made some big saves. They probably had slightly the better chances, but we played the better football. As I said, Peacock-Farrell was my man at match in this. He was confident coming out. He didn't pull any tricks like Alisson did for Liverpool yesterday.
Hey.
That was really poor. But I think it showed a lot about the confidence having team at the minute. When Douglas had that free kick in 96th minute, I was stood there convinced that it was going in.
Yeah.
I was just convinced we were going to score.
Really stick it up them at the end.
Yeah, but I had a 3-1 with him for that. You had one apiece, so you did actually get something from that. So after 8 games, I've got 12 points, 1 correct result, 2 correct scores. You've got 10 points, no correct scores, but 5 correct results.
Can I ask how you've got only one correct result, but 2 correct scores?
Where I've got 1 2 points and 2 5 points.
Okay.
Yeah, I just keep them separate.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, Stoke at home, Derby away, Rotherham at home, Swansea away, Norwich away, Middlesbrough at home. That is a tough start, and we've come out of it 4 wins, 2 draws, top of the league.
Yeah, and we both said on the last podcast as well, if we came away from these 3 games with 5 points, we'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we did say that, didn't we?
Yeah. And like you say, I think on the balance with the Swansea and Middlesbrough games, a point is a fair result from both of those. We've stuck to our philosophy, played some nice stuff. We've not panicked. I mean, especially when you think of this between Stoke, Derby, and Norwich, those have been 3 games that we have just annihilated teams from start to finish.
Yeah. Well, there's been quite a lot of news since the last week, but a lot of it is going to be us going, yeah, and not having much to say. First of all, under 18s have played twice, beat Millwall 2-0, Charlie Cresswell penalty and Henry Mwenda. And then they lost 2-1 at Charlton, Theo Hudson with goal, and under 23s drew 1-1 with QPR, Ryan Edmondson. But the main thing to come out of that might be interesting, particularly given the bad performance that Shaughnessy had. For the last 5 minutes, Arpo Halme came on.
Yes, he's back.
He's alive.
He's alive and well.
Yeah, signed in January, has been... Well, it might not have even... I think it was right at the start of the January window. So he's been out all year with a foot injury. He came out in press saying in Finland that he'd been back training for a couple of weeks before this game. So he's been back training for 3 weeks now. It'll have been hard on him, but you would think that mentally he must be really up for it now.
Yeah. What did you say? 10 months. Especially when he came in and, I think the plan was he was going to start out in the under-23s, and it looked like he was going to be... They were hoping he would be moving up into the first team kind of towards the end of the season.
Yeah, he was like the only under-23 signing where they specifically said with a view to moving up to the senior squad.
Yeah, so, it's got to be disappointing for him. And especially when you just move over. He didn't even get that many games under his belt for the under-23s, I don't think.
He never played once. That was his debut.
Did he not?
That was his debut.
Oh, lovely. So yeah, it's good to have him in the squad now, and hopefully, if he can get some game time under his belt and play with some consistency, he might again be a viable kind of backup option for the first team. I think because I'm trying to remember now. I know Pascal Stroik has been kind of one of the regular centre backs. I can't remember who the other one would be.
He'll have been playing with Hugo Diaz mostly.
Oh yeah, Diaz.
Who I know he did okay those couple of games he had to play last season, but when he played in pre-season this year, I thought he really struggled. And the other thing with Halme, if he does turn out to be any good, he's 6'4".
Yes, he's a big lad.
And God, we could do with some height. I mean, I know Berardi has done fucking brilliantly. Like, he has surpassed everything so much, but when we were defending those set pieces against Middlesbrough, I couldn't help but think, God, I wish Janssen was on. And I mean, he came on for the one set piece we had and came and cleared everything and got rid of it.
Yeah.
And I do think having one of the backup players be 6'4", because that was one of the weird things with Shaughnessy. He seemed to be 2 inches shorter and 3 stone lighter.
Yeah.
When he played against Preston than I remembered him being.
Interesting.
Yeah. Another thing that's interesting with Halme, I've actually missed it off the notes because it happened after I wrote them. But that Leeds United Academy thing tweeted, I haven't seen out confirming it, but they're normally right. Apparently he's been called up for Finland's under-21s.
It must say something about the players they have available to them.
And it must say a lot about what they think about him from his time in the under-19s and stuff. If he's been out all that time, played 5 minutes of under-23 football, and they've called him straight up as soon as he's fit. Yeah. I think that's a good sign. He's one of quite a few. Kunta Manushkov has gone away with Bulgaria's under-19s. Tom Pearce and Will Huffer, England under-20s. Janssen's off with Sweden. Tyler Roberts has got called up for Wales, senior squad for the first time.
Yeah.
Bailey Peacock-Farrell and Stuart Dallas have gone with Northern Ireland. And in #Click News, he has been called up by Poland about 4 years after his last game.
Yeah, it just shows... Because I didn't realise the time until someone had mentioned this, that it'd been 4 years since he was last in a Poland squad. So it shows it wasn't just from him not playing for us. It was even before that, he dropped away. So it's a testament to him with how he played the second half of last season when he was out on loan, and then how he's kicked on this season with us. Again, you just watch and you just wonder how we ever played without him last season.
Yeah, he's fast climbing the ranks of everyone's favourite player, I think.
Yeah, he just looks so composed. He's willing to get forward. Like I say, what's he got now? 3 goals this season already?
Yeah, he's got 3. He scored the opening goal against Stoke, the first goal against Derby, and the first goal against Norwich.
Click to score first. That's your bet right there.
They've got wise to it. They've shortened him up a bit. I had a look on last one. He started the season like 16, 18 to 1, and now he's like 9s.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Got to make my money somewhere.
We've also had a lot of departures, but a lot of these we won't have much to say about.
No.
First of all, Yosuke Ideguchi. And he's gone to the one team that in Germany I have still no idea how to pronounce. I believe it'll be Greuther Fürth, I think. But yeah, he's gone there on loan for the season with an option to buy. Apparently the option to buy, if they take it up, we will make a bit of profit on him. Because we only paid about $500,000 and the option to buy is about $1 million apparently.
Yeah. I mean, Germany seems to be a good base for Japanese players or Asian players in Europe.
Yeah, there's a fair few Japanese players there, and there's lots of South Koreans.
Yeah. Can we just take a moment as well to just mention the results of the Asian Cup, which normally I wouldn't pay too much attention to, but it does mean South Korea winning does mean none of the players have to go on military service.
Yeah, the Spurs fans are absolutely delighted.
I'm sure not as delighted as the players are.
Yeah.
That's something to inspire you. If you boys do well, say you'd have to do mandatory military service. Come on, boys, let's win this.
There's 60-year-old blokes in pubs banging the table really hard saying they should do it here.
Tell you what, it'd have done Calvin Phillips good if at 19 he went in the army for a year.
Yeah.
He's twice the player he is now.
Yeah. But to be, the thing with Ideguchi is it hasn't worked out, but I think he does have something about him. So if he does well, gets his move, I'd be happy with that. Someone who I'd have less time for, Lawrence de Bock, has gone to Oostend for the season. I don't believe this one has an option to buy.
It's not surprising that he's gone. It's impressive how quickly he's ended up back in Belgium already. Just as you said, someone who didn't look particularly great in pre-season, looked awful at the back end of last season. Hopefully it will turn into something permanent.
Similar story in that we hope it turns into something permanent, even though we don't actually have any evidence to go on because we've never seen him. Wassim Boy has gone to PEC Zwolle for the season, which I believe is like his third spell there.
Okay. I mean, if you're struggling to get into the team for a poor cultural Leonessa side, it doesn't speak too highly of you. Looking back now on last season, that seems to be the most pointless partnership for us because he went there for half a season, didn't play. Iguchi went there for half a season, didn't play.
Yeah, what I would say is I think it says everything about that partnership where the next 3 players have gone and none of them have gone to Leonessa.
Yeah.
Oriol Rey to UB Conquense in Spanish Segunda B, which I believe is the 3rd tier. Oriol Rey is one of the ones who did look okay last season. He looked pretty decent in under 23s. I quite liked the look of him. I was less impressed by him in pre-season when he did get some game time.
Yeah. I've seen nothing of Oriol Rey, so...
Yeah, Adrian Balboa has gone to Terrassa FC, also Spain.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. And Oliver Sarkic has gone to Baracaldo FC for the season. Sarkic was looking okay before he got that injury, in fairness to him.
I have no idea who Baracaldo are.
I had never heard of them. They are another one that's Spanish, I believe, but I'd never heard of them either.
Yeah, Oliver Sarkic building up some stamps in his passport.
Yeah. Then on to I'll do them in this order. Vernon Anita, Willem II for the season.
I wish him all the best. I think, as we said several times, and again, listening back to the podcast, how we went through such a poor spell last season without thinking about putting Vernon Anita at centre mid instead of at left back is beyond me. Yeah,
hopefully he gets a chance to play. He's still got quite a while left on his contract, so... And I'm not sure if there's an option to buy. But we'll see.
I see what you did there. I will say I quite like their kit. It's quite nice with the navy and red stripes with the white stripes in between them as well.
Is Willem II where we got Clyde Vinard from?
I believe so.
This is one of these annoying things now because I'm going to have to bloody check that.
That's all right, I'm already on it. I'm on the laptop.
Oh, cool.
You keep going. I'll get back to you.
Well, we'll move on to the next player to go then. The man who was... I still think there is a chance he got kidnapped by the humanist elders and replaced with a carbon copy of him that's worse at football. Ewan O'Kane on loan at Luton Town for the season.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed as well that he's ended up in League One. There was talk that he might try and stick around and hold out for a championship move in January. There's definitely a good player there.
We've seen it be there before. It's just
he just, and the same as every other centre midfield last season, his form just absolutely fell off a cliff. And I think now that we have Forshaw, who again we were saying last season does a very similar job to O'Kane but better. You got Click, you got Phillips, Baker's in now. He just fallen himself far down the pecking order at that point. Again, hopefully if he can have a good spell. And
to be fair as well, Shackleton.
And Shackleton as well. And plus, obviously, with Shackleton, he gives that level of versatility as well that you don't get with O'Kane. O'Kane is very much a holding midfielder and not a whole lot else.
Yeah.
Hopefully he has a good spell and gets himself a move. I'm pretty sure he was another one who we probably extended his contract last season.
I think we did right at the start because he was all right for that. It was basically all right until that awful game he had away at Sheffield United. And something snapped and he just went and that was that. But the last one of the players that have left, I've left him till last because he scored his best goal for Leeds United, really, in a way. Caleb Ekuban on loan to Trabzonspor, and I put on Twitter, I thought, that's a pretty big club for, you know, compared to where I expected him to go. And he came on for his debut against Galatasaray and scored in a 4-0 win.
I had very mixed feelings about this because while I was thrilled that he scored a goal against Galatasaray, I couldn't help but think, where was this last season?
Sorry, just to not to be a dick or anything, but he scored on his debut for Leeds United.
Yeah, and that did seem to... What did he get last season too?
Yes. He scored in the League Cup on his debut, and he scored at home to Bolton in the league. I don't think there was any others.
If I remember rightly, against Barnsley at home last season is the one when he had about 3 one-on-one chances and just every time straight at the keeper or dragged it wide. And I think that was the game when everyone really turned on Ekuban and just went, all right, Jesus Christ, get him off.
Yeah, I know he works hard, but...
yeah.
But no, scoring a goal against them will always endear you to the Leeds support even more.
Yeah, it'll keep him in good graces for a little while anyway. I don't know if there is a place for him when he comes back, because again, he's...
Well, he might not be back. That's one of the ones that does have a purchase option, apparently.
Well, again, mostly all these players, apart from Lawrence de Bock, I don't particularly wish them any ill will. You know, I hope they get themselves a move to get some first-team football. Lawrence de Bock, I just don't give a shit about.
Yeah. The one that... There's only a couple of other little bits of news. One involving a player we were linked with a bit, but we never expected to get. Ryan Woods has gone to Stoke from Brentford, which is a really good signing.
But it's only a loan with an arranged permanent move.
In January.
Because that's completely different from buying someone.
Yeah. This changing window has made all the difference in the world, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's, and it was an odd way to do it this year, but yeah, it was... it's a good move for Stoke. Very strange because I know he was heavily linked with Swansea for a while, and then Swansea obviously sold a number of players and then couldn't agree. I think they couldn't agree personal terms with Ryan Woods, and
there was that apparently. Well, basically it was like $500,000 difference in fee between them, and Swansea just won't budge.
Yeah, very strange for
and Stoke would.
Yeah, well, again. Very good player to get in. I think one of the things I heard Phil Hay saying was that kind of that Stoke and especially Stoke need is a bit of that championship now, and I think Ryan Woods will definitely bring that to them.
Yeah. Leeds rejected a bid believed to be around £10 million from Krasnodar in Russia for Janssen. Good. We're already short at centre back. We shouldn't be taking anything less than 25.
Yeah, and especially at this, once you start saying like, if you're in the position that we are, where there is clearly. We have the 3 centre backs, between Berardi, Cooper, and Janssen. Those are our first 3 choices. And once you sell someone like Janssen, yes, you get 10 million. Yes, it is in the Championship a decent amount of money, but at the same time, the clubs then know you'll be desperate to get another centre back in. So the price, the value on them goes up a bit more. And honestly, I don't think we're going to find many players the quality of Pontus Janssen at that short notice.
Yeah, I'm just glad he's still here. I mean, there's no pressure to sell. He signed a 5-year contract start last season.
Yeah, it's good to have him tied down, and I don't know how well I suppose a man who's willing to fight anyone would probably go down quite well in Russia, but I think he's probably happy here, and I think the move he's probably looking to make would be more to the Premier League than anything else.
Yeah. Leeds have got a new team to really want to lose every game. I mean, they're Nottingham based, so I already don't really like them, but Notts County have appointed that Australian wanker as manager.
Allegedly, he's apparently a club legend.
Yeah, well, that's the Sun saying that, and fuck them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. There's nothing positive I can say about that now.
I'm in the. I can't remember. Did I tip them to go up?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think I did, and they're like bottom at league.
Well, now you want them to go down. So.
Oh yeah, I want them to go down. I'll tip the -20.
20 points. Who gives a fuck?
There's just a little bit of news away from field. Leeds announced a partnership with that Children's Heart Surgery Fund. They did ask people to send in, various charities that the club should partner up with. And obviously the Muscles Matter campaign came out quite highly because of Martin Howard and all the great stuff he's done. But this is a really, really good cause as well. There's a Just Giving page that's linked on Leeds' website, so if you can spare a few quid.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, there's not much else you can say to that. I think you pretty much covered all
Yeah,
that.
just good thing. Then the two incomings that we've had, which I've left till last because they're the most interesting bits, really. The first one, which is a bit quieter, and I don't think it's been officially announced by the club, but it is done. It's been all over. Nicholas Hogland signed a 2-year scholarship, joins the under-18s. He's been highly rated in Norway. He's been to, I think he's trained with both Milan clubs, trained at Barcelona. He's one of them that's dotted around and been looking for somewhere to continue his development. I know that a few of the Norwegian Leeds fans have talked about him a lot and said that he's been someone who's been in the consciousness for a while. And he's done. He's been pictured with Leeds shirt outside at academy and stuff.
Did they just think, well, Hogland sounds similar to Haaland, and since we missed out on Erling...
I did see a few people asking, is this Alfie's son? Even though it's a totally different surname.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't people with different surnames to the dads. But,
You've just offended the whole of our Iceland base,
Yeah. That'd be better, wouldn't it? Alfie's son.
That'd be good.
Oh, actually, no, it'd just be Alf Ingerson, which sounds like a Icelandic name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that, again, we're still looking to kind of cast our nets out and look for promising young players. And I think one of the things, it will be quite good. I remember, was it last season when we were talking about Jamie Shackleton playing alongside Oriol Ray? It can only be good for Jamie Shackleton to be playing alongside someone who has played with, some of the, the academies of the best clubs in Europe.
Yeah.
So again, if we're looking abroad and looking to bring in promising young players, it's it certainly can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and then the first team transfer where Leeds fans went full on Poirot.
Yes, I did see the pictures from Leeds Bradford.
Step 1, Izzy Brown tweets out. Doesn't tweet out. That's because I don't use Snapchat. Snapchat's a picture of an airport waiting lounge. Step 2, couple of well-travelled Leeds fans. That's Terminal 5 at Heathrow. Step 3, there's a flight from Heathrow landing at Leeds Bradford at about 10:15. Step 4, people go wait at Rivals Lounge. Step 5, pictures of Izzy Brown on Twitter going through Leeds Bradford Airport. Step 6, loan move instead of profit.
Yeah. Fair play to the Leeds fans for piecing that one together and keeping us updated every step of the way. I'm disappointed someone didn't try clinging onto the wheels of the plane as it took off.
Yeah,
Izzy Brown is on the plane. He's chosen the pasta over the chicken. But yeah, good signing. Someone who obviously he's had his injury.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bad injury and ACL. He was out for a while. I know the Brighton fans were pretty happy with him before that injury because it was in FA Cup and he was really good at Huddersfield, but it'll be nice to see him. And the way that although he was a bit of a shithouse to us on Twitter, I don't mind that.
Yeah, it kind of shows that he actually has fun with what he's doing and he cares about where he's playing. And plus, like you say, I remember seeing him a few times playing Huddersfield when they went up, and he looked very good. Good to have the option as well. I think Saiz is probably one of the few players we don't really have the backup for yet, in terms of someone who you would feel confident coming in doing the job. That kind of seems to be where we're looking, is to create that competition between those two as in that number 10. But he's a bit flexible as well, and he can come in for pretty much anyone in that attacking midfield line. So hopefully, he can build up his fitness and become a good part of the squad. Yeah,
they've said he won't be fit until October, but we're also not paying any of his wages until he is fit.
Okay. Yes.
So, I think that's a pretty fair deal. I mean, they had to do it now because the deadline was 31st of August.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty fair deal. We will do another podcast next week to preview the upcoming games because international breaks before it. And there's no point us doing it now, having it out for a week, and then there's 4 injuries or something before games actually happen.
And we've got to pad out the iTunes stream.
Yeah, we've got to catch up these, 35 or whatever it is for everyone that the other big Leeds podcasts get compared to us. But Leeds best price 4-1 to win the league and 6-4 to get promoted. We've played really well, but do you think that that's a bit of an overreaction by bookies?
Yeah. Obviously, I think we've played really well, but given Leeds United tendencies at the best of times, you kind of got to hold off until around Christmas anyway, before we start thinking, of bigger things. It's good that we're going into the international break. We're unbeaten, played some good football. We've come up against some tough teams, and we've got ourselves in a really good position. But yeah, you got to try and keep your feet on the ground at the moment and not go too crazy.
Yeah, I think keeping your feet on the ground is the best way to say it. And if there's nothing to get your feet on the ground quite like his first game when we get back, which will be Millwall away, but we'll talk about that more next time. But the only question I have now, if I offered you 6th place right now, would you take it?
I'm going to say no, because I'm feeling confident at the moment. I think right now I have us as a top 3 team.
I'd still take 6th right now. We've been burned before too many times.
Yeah.
Just to be confirmed as in with a shout.
I mean, again, I've been listening through to these old episodes, and it's quite funny every now and again when one of us makes a prediction, and I'm just sat there going, "Well, that was wrong. We got that one wrong." Even with the amount of praise we were given going back to Vernon and Anita, how highly we rated that transfer at the time.
Yeah, we thought it was a brilliant signing, didn't we?
And how much of an impact we thought he was going to make on the team, and then you go, "Oh no, backup left back."
And shite when he played.
Yeah. But yeah, you probably had to quote me on this come May, when I'm saying we're a top 3 team, and we've just scraped that 17th place.
Nah, mate, 15th. It's Leeds.
Oh yeah, sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling very confident about the way we're looking at the moment.
Right. Well, that'll do us. We will be back some point next week. Not sure exactly when, but we will do all the previews then. As we've already covered all news and windows shut, there shouldn't be that much. So this one, I don't know how long we've been going, but this probably hasn't been the longest one. The next one probably won't be the longest one. And that should hopefully then get us on a bit better timing so we can actually make sure they're always out before the first game we talk about and stuff like that. Can't promise we'll work, but we should hopefully from here on be a bit better. So that'll do us for episode 29 at Mighty Whites Podcast. We're at Mighty Whites Pod on Twitter. We're at MightyWhitesPodcast.com. It's a podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. I think basically everywhere except Spotify it should come up, and like Podomatic and stuff. The stuff we write goes up on Through It All Together, which is at THRU, It's All LUFC. And we will see you, well, you'll hear from us in a week and a bit. I've been Jack, see ya.
And I've been Casey, have a good one.
Cool, in a bit, bye.